a brownfield site in the city center. It is a quick fix for a migration crisis that has spiraled out of control. And they hope no one would notice the difference until the excavators were already digging the foundations. This is where the first step of William's five-point strategy comes into play. And it is a stroke of genius that has left government lawyers scrambling. Insiders are calling it the heritage log. The prince is not just making a moral argument. He is making a legal one. He is reportedly preparing to invoke ancient stewardship laws, some dating back to the Dutch charters that forbid the irreversible alteration of land, classified as integral to the character of the realm without direct consultation with the Crown estate. Starmer's housing minister was seen rushing into number 10 early this morning, clutching a file, looking pale. They know exactly what this means. If William successfully frames this as a matter of heritage preservation rather than just a planning dispute, he takes the power away from the bureaucrats in Whitehall and puts it back into the hands of history. He is effectively freezing the gears of the government's bulldozer machine. And the public reaction, it has been explosive. A video surfaced online just hours ago showing a group of pensioners in Kent standing arm in arm across a bridle way marked for development holding signs that read, "William stands with us." They aren't just protesters anymore. They feel like they are part of a royal guard. The psychological shift is profound. Starr is no longer fighting a group of NIMBYs obstructing progress. He is fighting the future king and the guardians of the British countryside. But the government is not going to go down without a fight. Sources say a counterattack is already being prepared. They plan to paint William as out of touch. A wealthy landowner protecting his view while the poor have nowhere to sleep. It is a dangerous gamble. Attempting to wage a class war against a prince who is currently channeling the nation's anger might just be the mistake that brings the entire administration crashing down. The battle lines are step 1. The heritage lock and ancient stewardship laws. Drawn, and the deception has been exposed. Now the real war begins. If the morning brought confusion, the afternoon has brought absolute paralysis to the heart of the British government. By 2:00 p.m. today, the whispers in Westminster had turned into shouts. The Prime Minister's legal team has reportedly uncovered the second phase of Prince William's strategy, and it is being described behind closed doors as the constitutional nuclear option. Starmer's entire housing strategy relied on a single ruthless assumption that the government could use compulsory purchase orders to seize land quickly, bypassing local objections in the name of national emergency. They thought they could bulldoze through the rights of private citizens. But they forgot one crucial detail. They aren't just dealing with private citizens. They are dealing with the Duke of Cornwall. William is not just a figurehead. He is the Duke of Cornwall, managing a vast private estate that funds his public, charitable, and private activities. And here is where the trap snaps shut. Buried deep in the parliamentary rulebook is a convention that requires government ministers to seek the prince's consent before passing any bill that affects his hereditary interests. It's a mechanism that has rarely been used as a weapon until now. Sources close to the duchies say that William has effectively signaled he will not grant consent for any legislation that allows for the blanket seizure of agricultural land without a binding guarantee of environmental sustainability. This puts Starmer in an impossible bind. He has two choices. Either he scraps the legislation and looks weak, or he attempts to strip the prince of his legal rights in Parliament. Imagine the optics of that. A Labour Prime Minister already struggling in the polls trying to sue the future king to force him to give up land for migrant housing. It is a political suicide mission. Meanwhile, the impact on the ground is spreading like wildfire. Inspired by William's defiance, a tenants' revolt has begun. Across the home counties, tenant farmers leasing land from the Crown and the Church are reportedly refusing entry to government surveyors. They are locking gates, parking tractors across access roads, and citing the prince's precedent. One farmer in Somerset, whose family has worked the soil for 4 generations, told a local reporter, "If the Duke says this land is sacred, then it's sacred. Starmer surveyors can come back with a warrant, but they better bring an army because we aren't moving." This is the nightmare scenario for number 10. They wanted a quick, clean, bureaucratic process. Instead, they have triggered a land war. The government is now facing a coordinated nationwide resistance that combines the legal might of the monarchy with the stubborn grit of the British farming community. And in the middle of this chaos, a new document has landed on the desks of the opposition MPs. It outlines Step 2 of William's plan, the Community Trust Model. It suggests that instead of handing land over to giant corporate developers, the land should be placed in perpetual trusts managed by local councils and residents. It's a direct challenge to the profit-driven model Starmer is accused of supporting. William isn't just saying no to housing. He's offering a better way to build one that puts people before profit. The narrative has shifted again. It is no longer just about saving trees. It is about who owns England, the global corporations backed by the state or the communities backed by the crown. As evening falls, the Prime Minister is reportedly cancelling his scheduled appearance at a clean energy summit. He has a much bigger problem to solve. The Prince has parked a constitutional tank on his lawn and the engine is running. While the lawyers were screaming at each other in the corridors of Westminster, a far more brutal scene was unfolding in the glass towers of the City of London. By mid-afternoon, the shock waves from Kensington Palace had hit the financial markets with the force of a tsunami. For months, major construction firms and property developers had been pouring millions into the Labour Party's coffers, betting on a guaranteed payday from these government contracts. They thought the fix was in. They thought the land seizure was a done deal. But William's intervention has turned their sure thing into a toxic asset. Step 3 of the Prince's plan has just been identified by financial analysts, and it is arguably the most ruthless move of